BFTB, best fight the best. So, do a little lunchtime video right quick. Something that I feel is a hot topic and needs to be addressed. So I just got off of World Breaker's video, his live stream. Salute World Breaker. I just got off his video, his live stream, and it was an interesting point that was brought up by one of the guys in the chat. I forget his name. I think it's Ingram Jones. I'm signed to him. I'm sub to him. But I think his name is Ingram Jones, if I'm not mistaken. If you're not sub to Ingram Jones, sub to that dude, man. He's very, very knowledgeable. He's got a lot of good content. I mean, and you guys can agree and disagree on a lot of things, but he's got a lot of good stuff out there. So if you're not sub to Ingram Jones, sub to Ingram Jones. But there was something that he brought up that I wanted to address. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like this. Matter of fact, there is no feeling. This is it. This is Anthony Joshua's claim to fame. His claim to fame is the Vladimir Klitschko fight. That is his claim to fame. If you take away the Vladimir Klitschko fight from Anthony Joshua, then he has no fight. He's just an ordinary dude. But because of the Vladimir Klitschko fight, then all of a sudden he's just extraordinary talent, and I don't see. Is he a good fighter? Yeah, he's a good fighter, man. Don't take nothing away from him. Is he scared to fight Wilder? Yes, he is. He's that too. So he's a good fighter, and he's scared to fight Wilder. He can be both, and he is both. But that's not the point of this video. So the point of this video is Vladimir Klitschko dropping Deontay Wilder. That's the point. Like, people get up in arms and they're like, oh yeah, Vladimir Klitschko dropped Deontay Wilder. He dropped him in sparring. So this is why, well, there's several reasons on why I don't really, okay. There's several reasons why I don't I don't fall into that scheme. You know, I don't fall into that. I don't buy that nonsense. Now, could it have happened? Yeah, of course it could have happened. I mean, so what? If he did get dropped in sparring, so what? So, and what does that mean? Does that mean that Joshua's better than Wilder because Vladimir dropped Joshua in sparring? I mean, Vladimir dropped Joshua in a real fight, not in sparring. So if Vladimir dropped Wilder in sparring, and that supposedly means that Joshua is better than Wilder because, you know, I guess it didn't happen to Joshua in sparring. Vladimir didn't drop Joshua in the sparring. That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense at all. So the claim to fame that you guys say is, oh, Vladimir dropped Wilder. He dropped Wilder in sparring. Okay. So even if it did happen, so Wilder's team never said it happened. So but there are some things that did happen. So because Vladimir supposedly dropped Wilder in sparring, then that means Vladimir is better than Wilder, right? That's what you all are getting to when you're saying that, right? Well, now then I beg to disagree, because Daniel Dubois dropped Joshua in sparring. So does that mean Daniel Dubois is better than Joshua? And this is something that's verified. They both said it. You know, Price knocked Joshua out in sparring. He didn't drop him, he knocked him out in sparring. This is something that Joshua himself said. So, are we saying that Price is better than Joshua? I don't believe that. I don't think Price is better than Joshua. I think if they fought, I think Joshua would destroy Price. But that's what Joshua said. Joshua said that he was knocked out by this guy in sparring. So what? So what if Wilder was dropped by Vladimir? If he was dropped, which has never been verified, so I don't really sit and go off of what people say because too many people make up shit. Too many people. They make up stuff to make themselves seem like they are more than what they are. Or they make up stuff just to hate or discredit or shit on another fighter. So they'll make up a bunch of things. That's why I don't really go off of what people like. I don't really go off what people like say like that unless I see video footage. So we'll say and salute to Ingram Jones, man. Salute to that man, because he said they normally don't he said they don't post footage of that. And a lot of the footage probably doesn't get posted. It probably doesn't. But a lot of it does. Like Floyd Mayweather versus Spatafora, which I said to them in the comments. Like, Floyd sparred this dude. And from what I saw, Spatafora beat him. He beat him in sparring. But would Spatafora beat him in a fight? Fuck no. And anybody that thinks that knows good and damn well that they're just hating on Floyd. There's no way Spatafora would beat Floyd Mayweather in a real fight. Wouldn't happen. In sparring, you spar to learn, you train things. You're not just going there just to fight. No, you're training. That's the whole point of sparring. You're learning things. And you can get caught with good shots that could debilitate you and drop you. You know what I'm saying? So let's just stop using, oh, well, Vladimir Klitschko dropped Deontay Wilder. So what? So even if it did happen, so it's sparring. So what? Daniel Dubois dropped Anthony Joshua. So Price knocked him out. So does it count? Is there a record for sparring? Are you whatever number, 40, 50, 60, 80, 90, and 0 in sparring? Is that a valid number that matters to anybody? No, it is a talking point that people use to down a fighter. That's all it is. It's a talking point. It's a used talking point that people make to say, oh, well, this is why this person will do this, or this is why that person will do that. It's nothing valid. There's nothing that backs it up and say and proves it. There's no proof behind it. There's no, okay, well, if you beat him in sparring, then you can beat him in a real fight. No. Shit, there's no proof behind people beating people in the amateurs and coming back into the pros and beating it. The last I checked, didn't Dillian White beat Anthony Joshua in the amateurs? I mean, shit. Garcia beat Terrence Crawford in the amateurs. There's plenty of fighters that lose in the amateurs that come back into the pros and destroy them. So how can we even use sparring and say, oh, well, Deontay Wilder was dropped? And here's another reason why I don't use that nonsense unless I see it. Unless I see it. If I see it, like I saw the Spatafora versus Floyd, I saw the Thurman versus Porter, I saw those sparring sessions. You know what I'm saying? I saw the sparring session with Errol Spence and Charlo. You know what I'm saying? Those sparring sessions they've put out. So it's like this, right? When you can't physically see it, you know what I'm saying? You are at the mercy of what someone else tells you. You are at the mercy of someone else saying, oh yeah, I was there, and no, their feet were tangled. Or no, their feet weren't tangled. He pushed them down. No, but then there's someone else is going to see that and say, oh no, that was a body shot. He dropped him with a body shot. And then someone else is going to say, oh no, that wasn't a body shot. He hit him in his chest. You know what I'm saying? And it was so strong and so concussive that it knocked him down. And then someone else will say, oh, he was knocked out cold. Like, no, you're not. Because that's just like that's like lining a bunch of kids up in a classroom. You line a whole bunch of kids up, the whole classroom, 20-something kids, line them up. You whisper something in one kid's ear, and you tell them to pass it along. You say, I have a pencil in my hand. By the time it gets to the last kid, it's, oh, he stabbed 7 people with a pencil, he killed his mom. You know, no, I'm not trying to hear that shit. And there's no disrespect. This isn't a disrespect video. This isn't a down anybody video. I salute all of you guys making content. I'm subbed to most of these guys. You know what I'm saying? But just because I'm subbed to them doesn't mean I have to agree with everything they say. Doesn't mean you have to agree with me. I'm telling you my point of view and why. You know what I'm saying? So we can all say this person is a valid person and I agree with him, and I can listen to what he says, but that person might have saw something his way and is articulating it to you the way that he feels he saw it. But if when you see it, you're like, oh man, he said he did this, but that's not even what happened. What were you talking about? That doesn't make him less credible. That's just the way he's seen it. You know what I'm saying? Now, in the case of Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois, they both said this. Yeah, he dropped me. They both said this. In the case of fucking Anthony Joshua and Price, they both said they knocked him out. Joshua himself said he knocked me out. He knocked me out. He didn't say he dropped me. He said he knocked me out. Okay, so that's the sparring aspect. That's the sparring aspect. That's the amateur aspect. Now let's get into the pros, right? Because again, the claim to fame, the thing that makes Joshua so great in everybody's eyes and Wilder so bad is the Vladimir Klitschko fight, right? Vladimir Klitschko, pretty much. Vladimir Klitschko is what supposedly made Joshua and what is supposedly breaking Wilder. Vladimir Klitschko. Because Vladimir Klitschko decided to pick Anthony Joshua instead of Deontay Wilder. So let's dive into that. Right? Salute again to Ingram Jones. No disrespect to him. I watch his channel. I fuck with him. I think he's fucking talented with content and the whole nine. But he made a point, which was a valid point. You know, Wilder was dropped by Schooners and Dustin Nichols, right? My point is this, and he said, and Vladimir Klitschko hits harder than both of them. I will agree. I will agree that he hits harder than both of them. I will agree. But didn't Wilder get up? Didn't he knock those guys out? Vladimir Klitschko got knocked out by Purity, I think Corey Sanders, and like Layman Brewster. Knocked out. KO and TKO. Knocked out. Done. There was no getting up from it. And not a one of them motherfuckers hit harder than Deontay Wilder. Not one of them. So what's your point you're making? I'm not understanding the point you're making. So you're saying what you're saying. So if, correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're saying is because Deontay Wilder got dropped by Nichols and Schooners, by Dustin Nichols and was it Harold Schooners or some shit like that, because he got dropped by those guys, then that means Vladimir would knock him out. Because Vladimir dropped him, quote unquote, dropped him in sparring, and then those two guys dropped him, then that means Vladimir would knock Wilder out. That's what you're saying. You're equating those two together. Well, I'm disagreeing with you. Because that would mean Vladimir would have to hit him. Vladimir would have to hit him clean to knock him out or to drop him like those guys did. Now, could he? Yeah, of course he could. I think any heavyweight fighting today could knock out any other heavyweight fighting today because they're heavyweights. They're all big boys. If they get enough power, if they get enough pop behind their punch, or if they get enough the correct angle behind their punch, they can knock out any other heavyweight. They can knock any one of them out. But we're talking about Deontay Wilder in the beginning of his career. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the Deontay Wilder of now. We're talking about the Deontay Wilder in the beginning of his career. You know what I'm saying? And you're comparing that Deontay Wilder with this Deontay Wilder and saying that Vladimir Klitschko would knock this Deontay Wilder out because he hits harder than not Ross Purity, because Ross Purity knocked out Vladimir, but he hits harder than Schooners and Dustin Nichols. He hits harder than those guys. So because he hits harder than those guys, way back when that happened, when Wilder got dropped and got up and then knocked him out, you know what I'm saying? Then that means that Vladimir Klitschko would beat him now. Okay, well, if that is a valid point, if that's the valid point that anybody, not just you, if that's the valid point that anybody is trying to make, then why didn't Vladimir Klitschko pick Deontay Wilder instead of picking Anthony Joshua? Because he sparred them both. You know what I'm saying? He sparred them both numerous times. Many, many, many times. In many training camps, he sparred them both. So if he sparred them both, and boxing is a business, boxing is a business. He sparred them both. What is the explanation behind picking Anthony Joshua over Deontay Wilder if he sparred them both and he dropped Deontay Wilder? No one can explain that. No one can explain that. No one can explain that, but I can. And any logical and realistic person can as well. Vladimir Klitschko sparred both of them and realized through sparring that one guy would have been tougher than the other. Bottom line. So, because boxing is a business and one guy is tougher than the other, then I'm going to pick the easier guy. I'm going to pick the guy that I had more success with. So just because I have a flash knockdown with you, but you're giving me tough work, but I have a flash knockdown with you, does not mean that I'm going to pick you to fight if I have my opportunity to do so. If I have my opportunity to do so, right, and I got a choice between these two fighters, and I handily take care of this one, I outbox this one or I just beat this one, I feel more comfortable with this one, and then when I fight this one, it's not as comfortable, things are not as handy, but I have a flash knockdown. You weigh your options. He's a smart man. Vladimir is a smart man. Isn't he like a doctor or some shit like that? So I'm pretty sure he's pretty smart in what he does, right? So if he's that smart in what he does, why would he take this one that he had a flash knockdown with? Or a knockdown. It could have been a solid knockdown, right? A solid knockdown or a flash knockdown, whatever the case may be. But this one gave me trouble, right? And this was back then. This was a younger Wilder, as it was a younger Joshua, right? A younger Wilder and a younger Joshua. But back then, the younger Wilder gave me problems. I actually did better. I fared well with the younger Joshua, right? And the younger Joshua is going to give me a little bit more money. So I'm going to get more money to fight a Joshua that I took care of in sparring. And there's no one saying that Vladimir did take care of him. But you can only think logical and reasonable, right? If you're thinking logical and reasonable, why would you go the harder route for a belt that you never had and another belt that you did have for like 8 years, when you can go the easier route and get 2 belts that you had, you know what I'm saying, and you can just get right back in the thick of things. And you can go the easier route and make a little bit more money doing it. This is what you guys fail to realize. And all you do is just stick with, he dropped them in sparring. Boom. Like this is breaking news. Like this is something special that he got, that a fighter got dropped in sparring. This is something special. So what? Drop him in the pros. Drop him where it counts. Drop him when it matters. Where it counts, when it mattered, in the pros, he dropped Joshua. 41-year-old, 41 years old, 2 years out of the ring, coming off a loss and an embarrassment with Tyson Fury, and then the fight before that was a trash fight with Brian Jennings. So trash with Brian Jennings and getting embarrassed to Tyson Fury, 2 years out of the ring, come back, 41 years old, no tune-ups, and you fight the young guy, up-and-coming guy, and floor him. And floor him. You avoid Deontay Wilder. You don't do that one, the quote-unquote easier fight. Windmill, chicken legs. Worst resume in boxing history. Horrible boxer. You avoid that, and you go to the guy that everybody's saying is the next coming great. You go to this guy, the tougher, harder challenge, supposedly, right? For 2 belts. You were getting the exact same thing whether you fought Deontay Wilder, the easier fight, right? Whether you were fighting Deontay Wilder, the easier fight, and you're getting 2 belts there, a belt you never had, or you're fighting the tougher and harder challenge in Anthony Joshua, you're still getting 2 belts. Belts that you have had. But according to you all, you know what I'm saying? According to you all, the fact that he dropped Wilder in sparring means something. That means that Wilder is shit, trash, bum, blah, blah, blah. But he dropped Joshua in the pros. Damn near knocked him out in the pros, where it matters. That's on his resume. His record forever will be getting floored by Vladimir Klitschko. Forever. I haven't seen any footage of Wilder getting dropped by Vladimir Klitschko. I mean, there's a documentary, and I appreciate Mr. Ingram Jones for posting it. I salute him. Salute, sir. Thank you. I definitely will watch it again, and I'll listen to it again. You know what I'm saying? When I go back into work, I'll definitely, listen to it again. And I definitely appreciate you putting it out. And again, this is no shade to you at all. Salute to the content. I respect you. I respect the content. I will be watching. I am subbed. No disrespect to you at all. But logically speaking, the concept behind what everybody is saying when it comes to Vladimir, Anthony Joshua, and Deontay Wilder, it just doesn't add up. I just want it to make sense. I'm the type of person where I will tell you all the time, and I'm sure if you watch my videos, people have heard me say this, make that make sense. That's what I'm all about, man. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense for the quote-unquote dominant reigning champion of the last decade, you know what I'm saying, to come back in, if boxing is a business, to come back in and fight Anthony Joshua if Anthony Joshua was so great, when you had the exact same meal that you could have had with Deontay Wilder with a weaker champion. You would have been eaten the exact same way. And on top of that, at that time, Shelly Finkel was both of their managers. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that Vladimir would come back and fight Joshua over fighting Wilder. Doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't add up. He fought Joshua because it made sense to him. That's why he fought Joshua. It made sense. So it made dollars, and it made sense because he probably felt he could beat him over fighting Deontay Wilder. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but that's my opinion based on the facts of what happened. And the facts are, he had his opportunity to fight Joshua, and he had his opportunity to fight Wilder. He sparred them both many, many times. This is facts. He had his opportunity to fight them both. That's a fact. He sparred them many times. That's a fact. So he would know, you know what I'm saying, who he fared better with. That too is a factual statement. So if all those three things are facts, he picked this one, then the logical conclusion would be he feels like he can beat this one. Maybe he felt like he could beat them both, but he definitely felt like this one was an easier one because he would have went this route if he didn't. Logical, common sense statements. No hate, no shade, no nothing. Logical, common sense statements. And if that's not the case, make it make sense. BFTB, and I'm out.